Hi, love. It's Lindsay Landry, energy healer, heart shaman, and mentor for healers and soul led entrepreneurs who are ready to create success on their own terms and to really call in deep success and prosperity for themselves and their business and their families. So I'm so delighted and honored to be here today. And today I want to dive into business energetics. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about how I work with entrepreneurs and healers, and also specifically like how I approach the business aspect of things and the business as an energetic, right? Like, how do we approach this on an energetic level? You may want to grab a pen and a piece of paper if you decide to take notes. I'm more than likely going to create a PDF and put it in the comments or the show notes. So you can check there as well for the link to the PDF. So whenever I'm working with someone that has a business and they are wanting to, whether it's attracting their first client or it's scaling their business to 10K months, right? When they come to me with a business, I like to look at 3 different energetics. And so I'm going to tell you what those 3 different energetics are, and then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into each one. As I'm sharing this, you may want to write the notes to kind of check in with yourself and see like, okay, where am I in relationship to these different things? And this can really just give you a gauge as to where you are in your process and where you may need the most energetic support for yourself, right? So like if you're going to focus your time and energy, where is the best place for you to focus it? Because what I see is a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they're healers, whether they're coaches, it really doesn't matter. What happens is they're focusing on things that aren't actually maximizing their time, their energy, and the results that they're getting. And I know that there's so many coaches and strategists that say this. And I just want to like clarify this. I feel like I'm saying it from an actual different angle than most people are saying it. Okay. So this is a deeper than mindset conversation. This is a deeper than what's your vision conversation. This is really going to the heart of the energetics and working from that place. Okay, so all right. So the 3 different energetics that we begin to look at, it's going to be your personal energy, the energy of your business, which is like the bones, right? It's the structure, it's the bones. And then it's the energy of your community, your communication, and the way that you're actually connecting with your community. And I like to think about this in terms of like intimacy, because it's actually an intimate process when we are engaging with our community and building those relationships. So, and there's different levels and different energetic levels, right, of cultivating and building those relationships as well. So we're going to talk about that. So those are the 3 different things that I really like to look at whenever somebody's coming to me, as an entrepreneur, as a healer, wanting to attract clients and make more money, or potentially like they might be attracting clients, but it's not their soulmate clients per se, right? Like they're wanting to reposition themselves to shift gears in their business so that they can actually align to their work. These are the three different things that I like to look at. So we're going to dive into each one. And again, this is a good place for you to really identify where you are and where you're potentially needing to focus some time and energy for yourself. So if we are looking at your personal energy, some of the things that we might look at is, where are you in relationship to your vision? Do you have a vision? Do you know what you want? And if not, that's totally okay. I have worked with so many people that they come to me and they feel like a hot mess and they're like, I just need to feel better, right? I feel so disconnected, so scattered. I don't even know what it is that I want, but I know that I need support, right? And so if you're in that kind of space, that is totally okay. But your vision is going to be one of these aspects of your energy. It's going to be really challenging to call in a 10K client, or 10K months if you don't know where you're going, right? So the clarity of your vision or your mission even. And again, sometimes this starts out kind of broad. And then when we're in that place of like, okay, things aren't quite feeling aligned, we need to, and you're wanting to reposition yourself, right, to attract more of the client that you're really here to serve and to work in a way that you're really meant to serve. Sometimes what we need to do is get in there and really start to refine things on an energetic level, so that you can tap into a different sense of clarity for yourself, right? And a different sense of feeling connected to your vision and your purpose and your mission from this deep centered place within yourself, right? It's like, rather than it coming from your mind, the way that I feel this is like a current of energy that moves through me, and it actually gives me the vision and then it guides me. And so, yeah, where are you in relationship to that place in yourself, right? One of the next things that we look at, one of the next pillars, is your confidence, right? How do you actually feel in terms of working with your clients? And then how do you feel in relationship to delivering results, right? So if you are not feeling very confident, then it's going to be challenging again to attract those clients with ease or to create the package. So we would have to focus on that first before we could go and focus on the next steps. And then selling, the actual selling component, the energetics of selling. So having an offer, putting a price on it, and then going through the sales process and actually offering that to someone and receiving money for it, right? That's a whole energetic in itself. And if you're not feeling very confident there, then it's going to be really challenging to create consistent, stable income for yourself, right? And sometimes, we hit these different points in our business where we might get comfortable at a certain place, and then we feel guided to raise the price or to work with a different client, a different type of client, or offer something new that we've never done before, right? And so then we can hit some edges around potentially pricing. And I've also seen people that have been in business for 10 plus years and they still feel squirmy, right, when it comes to pricing and offering their services. So I just want to give this big permission slip. There's such a deep current here of wounding and, charging as a healer and all of these different things, unspoken things, right? And so it's okay. It is okay if you have discomfort here. And it's also okay to give yourself permission to move forward anyway, right? So selling, how do you feel in relationship to actual marketing, getting visible, right? Telling people about your work. So you might not have an issue working with clients, you might not have an issue receiving money, but when it comes to actually getting visible and having conversations, you're like, ugh, I really wish somebody would just send clients my way. I don't want to do that. That was kind of like how I was when I started my business. I really didn't want to talk about what I did. I really wanted to be the shaman in the woods that people would just find. And, sometimes I'm at this place of still wanting to do that, right? And I know that if I am not talking about my services, if I'm not sharing, I'm not being of service. If I'm not offering, I'm not being of service. And one thing that I have found for myself is it's actually more painful for me, for my health, for my relationships, for my quality of life, when I'm not doing the work that I know I'm here to do. I actually find myself depressed. I struggle more with health issues. I have more challenges in my relationships. And that is one of the reasons that for me, it's a non-negotiable for me to do my work, right? And also when there's a calling there, right? So when our soul is calling us and inviting us into our next level, to our next soul assignment, and for some of that, it's charging for our work. For some of us, it's speaking up about our work, right? When your soul is calling you towards that, you can't not do it. One of the reasons I got out of health coaching and I got out of working as a holistic dietitian is because I had all of these clients that were sick, and it's because they weren't in alignment with what their soul was asking of them. So for me, that I was much more passionate about just let's just do that, right? Because then all of this other stuff clears itself up. There is no point in trying to work on a health issue if you're not doing the thing that you need to be doing. I mean, there is a point. So I don't want to say that. But if you're resisting, right? If you're resisting the flow, if you're not willing to really look at what's going on, that's not a very fun place to be as a healer, holding that space. There comes a point where you have to make a decision, a call. So I made my call towards energy work. So then another energetic capacity to your energy, when you are doing your work, your capacity, right? So I was just sharing, there comes points where you have to be able to make these decisions. You have to be able to hold the space for yourself and also your clients. And so, some people get caught up and they think that they have a confidence issue, but really it's a capacity issue. Or, you might think oh, I want to sell this program and attract 100 people into this group. Well, do you actually have the capacity to hold 100 people? If not, it's going to be really challenging to sell that and to attract those 100 people. So knowing your capacity and also having support to expand it, right? Because when you are a highly sensitive entrepreneur, a healer, a human, and you're inviting a lot of energy into your space, you have to be able to regulate yourself. You have to be able to manage your energy. So, this is a place that I actually work. I do a lot of work with my clients around this, and pretty much the foundation of the work that I do with clients is it's all around building their energetic capacity. When you know yourself, the more centered you are in yourself, a lot of these things naturally fall into place. It's not like having to work on each specific thing. When we get to the core, the more you are seated in yourself, the more you're taking up space within yourself, all of these things begin to resolve themselves. And visibility. So that brings me to visibility. So being seen as yourself in your authentic, true nature. As a leader. As a soul-centered leader. So I want to just pause here for a moment, give you a moment to just digest, take it in. Take inventory of where you are. I'm going to grab my water and then we're going to dive into the next segment. Okay. So next we're going to look at the actual energetics of business, of your business, the bones of your business. And so, business there's certain components of it, right? So there's the what you're actually selling, what you're actually doing, the who, right? Like, who are you exchanging with? Who are you inviting in? Who are your customers, your clients? Why? Why are you doing it? And that might also be like your mission. Your client journey. So when they are working with you, what does that actually look like? So this is for healers, coaches, health practitioners. What is the actual client journey? What's the transformational process that you are taking them on, bringing them through? The components of your work. So knowing that, that's a component of your business. And then we have the client pathway, which is like how people find you, and then also how they get to know your work, right? So that they can say yes to working with you more easily and more naturally. And I see a lot of people struggle with this. And one of the reasons is because they're not actually clear on their messaging. So they're not clear on who they're serving, what they're actually doing. And so they're doing all of these little things and they're offering, whether it's like small workshops or classes, which the class might be, 4 to 6 weeks, or even programs, 3-month programs, 6-month programs, but they're all kind of different. And there's not an actual flow. So the energy is very scattered. As a business owner, that makes it very challenging for you to, one, attract clients. 2, it takes so much more work when you're constantly having to generate like messaging and you're having to get clear on each of these things. When I'm working with clients, one of the things that we do is we get laser clear on like, once we tap into your gifts, your unique soul blueprint of sorts, then we get super clear on like who are you meant to serve? What are you made for? right? Like, what are you just so natural and good at? And I feel like this sounds kind of silly, me speaking it, but it's actually true. Um, when we begin to clarify that, it becomes so much easier to create that client pathway, and then um, everything can flow because you know where you're leading people. You know what the main thing is. And then all of your other offers, whether it's a free offer or a mini offer, it all nurtures the big source, the big thing, right? And if you're wanting to create steady, sustainable income in your business, this is a core component of getting super clear so that the energy can be really streamlined and it can flow really easy and effortless. You know, when I had my in-person practice, I had my holistic healing consults. I had energy consults, and then I was thinking like I would have like a life coaching consult. Well, that's super confusing. When I began to create packages, I actually blended all of them together. So rather than me having like these separate segmented things, what I ended up doing was just kind of being honest with people and saying like, okay, I am a holistic nutrition that does energy work and transformational coaching, right? And so this is what it looks like to work with me. That makes it so much easier than me selling multiple different things. But what it does require is the person that it's going to be for, it is a little bit more refined. And so that's where, you know, you can see this messaging component. It can make things so much easier. It feels really tricky in the beginning, especially when you're trying to do it by yourself. But it can be so much easier once you get that in place. Another thing that I want to just talk about here is like the actual deliverable results that you're working with clients around. What I see, especially for healers and entrepreneurs that haven't been in business for quite some time, or they haven't worked with a whole lot of clients, the results that you are wanting to like share with client, like this is what I can help you do. You want to make sure that it's something that somebody not only wants, but it's an easy yes for them. So if you're trying to sell someone, and you know, I'm using the word sell, like I don't believe that when we're selling, it actually shouldn't feel like you're having to sell. The way that I like it to feel is like an invitation or an offer, right? Like when you are really seated in yourself and you're seated in your work, it shouldn't feel like a sell at all. Because you know your worth, you're super clear on the value of it, and it's like either somebody is needing and wanting what you're offering or not, and it's very clear. But if, you know, let me just use this as an example. So if I'm offering to a person that they're broke, and they have absolutely no money, and they don't know how to use the computer, and I'm trying to tell them like, hey, I can help you create an online business to make money, that is going to take so much work for me, right? Because it's not in flow, it's not in alignment. And they're not available for it, right? So I think this is a place where a lot of people get stuck because they're selling to an old version of themselves. They're wanting to help and serve people that they've experienced maybe a trauma or a pain that the people have experienced. But you have to really ask yourself, are those people really ready to say yes to what you're offering them? And when you were in that place, like, what were you actually looking for, and what were you wanting to say yes to? Like, what would you have pulled money out of your wallet for? Do you know what I mean? This is really important. And, that brings me to the next energetic, which is like the communication, the connection, and the community. You have to know the people in front of you are the people that you're calling in. If you're calling in completely wrong people, right? Like, you're like, I absolutely know this is not the people that I'm here to serve, and that's the people that you're attracting, then we need to look at your energy and the energy of your business, right? But if you're calling in people and you're like, okay, this could be I know that these people need my help, but they're not moving. They're not like wanting to pay me. Then those are some places to actually look at. And so, like, the way that you are communicating with them, if what I see a lot is coaches are teaching, like strategists and business coaches, they're teaching step into being the expert. I have so many issues with that on multiple levels. And one of them is like, if you are speaking to someone and you're just like throwing information at them and you're trying to like convince them why they need the thing, or you're trying to convince them like what's wrong with them, right? Or you're selling that and you're constantly just feeding information, that is not necessarily moving people to make a high powered decision for themselves. It might make them feel bad about themselves, right? They're like, oh, I'm doing all the things wrong. So, yeah, notice like how you're speaking to your people. Are you just speaking to the mind? Sometimes we ask those questions in our content, like, are you feeling this? Do you feel this? And it's like we're asking the questions, but we're not actually making that heart connection with the person. You can ask yourself, like, would I respond to my own content? And ideally, when you're speaking to people, you want to move them. And if you ask yourself, like, well, how do I create movement? Often it's through like the heart, right? Or from leaning into this place of life force, creation energy, right? That is in you. When we talked about your mission, when you lean into that, that is the movement. When you share from that energy, when you share from that space, it has a different vibration. And not every single thing you put out needs to be in this energy, but a few times a week, like, I would certainly say getting into that space, getting into that energetic, whether it's sharing personal stories or client stories, or why you're so passionate about your work and the results that you're getting clients. That's going to have a totally different energetic to it than, trying to educate clients. So your community, your connection, this is essential to easier conversions. And are you growing and building a community? If not, if you have 10 people in your community, and I'm being a little sarcastic, but and you're wanting to sell 100 spots to this thing, yeah, it's going to be hard. Like you're trying to do something that's impossible, right? So you have to then grow your community and start asking yourself those questions like, well, how can I get in front of more people? How can I serve in a bigger way, right? And so, that can link back to personal energy too, because when we begin to hit that edge, right, then we have to then work some of those personal energetics. And when I'm working with clients energetically, my goal is to help you connect to your own intuition, the knowing that you have within you of how does your energy move the best? How do you flow the best? How do you create the best? For some of us, it's through structure. For some of us, it's through flow, like me. Like I'm actually loving this platform of like having a podcast because it gives me that freedom and that spaciousness to flow. It gives me more time and more space to do the things that I want to do in the moment. And then like when inspiration hits me, I can create space to do it, to record. And so I'm actually loving this platform right now. And I don't have to squeeze myself into a schedule. So what I was noticing for myself is some days I was like so much energy was moving through me and I had so many ideas and I really wanted to get into creation mode, because if I don't create it in the moment when the energy's flowing, then it's harder for me to find that flow again. And so what was happening is I didn't want to like be posting on Facebook all the time or like doing Facebook lives in my group all of the time. So I wasn't sharing. Well, now if I want to record 5 podcasts in a day, I can, and I can just release them either in the moment or whenever I want. And so, figuring out how your energy flows best, and like, is it doing groups? Is it doing one-on-one? And do you like to connect intimately with clients, or do you prefer having a different type of connection? All of these things are so important. Some people are great at holding more of a container where they like invite people up, if that makes sense, where they're like cleaning up the vibration or they're inviting people into the next level. And then some people are really, really great at like the emotional support and helping people release stuck energy and stuck emotions. So knowing like where your genius is and what nourishes you, that allows you to create and begin to weave your business together in an intentional way where it nourishes you and it gives you the spaciousness to live the life that you desire to live at the same time. So I truly hope this has been helpful. I'd love to hear from you what your biggest takeaway was here, and check the comments for the link to the PDF. And if you know that you need support in your business, I currently have a breakthrough prosperity package. It's a 4-week prosperity breakthrough. And I also have a 6-month mentorship. I'd be delighted to get on a discovery call with you and we can chat more about how I can support you. You can also check those out on my website. So I'm sending you so much love, and until next time.